real talk, Kentucky's on fire. From bourbon to ball games, we got that flow. On the We Do This Too podcast, yeah, you know. From country roads to the city lights, they bring the heat, man, every night. We do this too, let's make it clear. If you ain't listening, you ain't here.
Welcome back, y'all. It's another edition of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast. And as always, we are presented to you in partnership with brands that we feel represent the very best of the outdoor industry. So before we get started, we'd like to give a special shout out to Moultrie Products, Ullers Archery, Threads Custom Bowstrings, G5 Outdoors, Blackburn Apparel Company, Deer Pip Scents and Lures, Vision Clothing, Bluebird Waterfowl Company, Angry Chicken Outdoors, Alps Outdoors, and last but certainly not least, a special shout out to the good folks over at Briley's for leaving a legacy of shooting innovation. Whether you need new cameras to elevate the scouting experience, new arrows, or anything for your archery setups, clothing, scent, or whatever it may be, as a supporter of the podcast, you can use promo code WDTT promo. That's WDTT promo for 15% off anything on the website at ullersarchery.com. Some exclusions may apply. With that being said, let's dive into another episode of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast with your host, Mr. Courtney Williamson. What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Williamson. I got my homeboy, Jay Cam, in the building, man. We're going to discuss something that gets overlooked a lot of times in the outdoor world that needs to be addressed, and that is safety. My boy J Cam is real big into safety, man, so we're going to pick his brain a little bit. So J Cam, for the listeners who may not know you, how did you first get into bow hunting, and what drew you in over other hunting methods?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Like you said, I'm Justin, aka Mr. J Cam from Equalized Outdoors. What drew me to bow hunting was pretty much just the fact that initially, anyway, was the fact that my uncles did it. They were like my role models and mentors growing up, them and my grandfather. So whatever they was doing, I was into it. And then as it progressed and I got older, I just started to appreciate the challenge and that up close experience. And it drew me in over firearms just because of the difficulty, the complexity, and the skill that it takes to be good at it. It kind of reminded me of like my own personal version of golf. You know what I mean? That's like me versus myself, pretty much. Yeah. Nobody to blame for a bad shot but me, etc. And I just like to do hard stuff, I guess.
I heard that. Yeah, I tried golf one time, and I lost about 40 balls in the Gulf of Mexico.
Not you lost 40 balls in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, and that was them high dollar Nike balls, and my homeboy let me borrow them. It was in Clearwater, Florida, and yeah,
man. Yeah, it wasn't good. Nike balls were expensive. They had me in a chokehold too because of Tiger Woods. Yeah, I was on that Nike golf train too. Like
everybody was, man. But
yeah, he had that book back in the day called Tiger Woods How to Play Golf. He taught you literally from front to back how to play it. I still got a copy of it at the house, man. Back in Virginia. That's what drew me in. I grew my club, so no more golf.
No more golf. Well, cool, man. So concerning safety, man, in the outdoors, you know, that's one thing I think gets overlooked a lot of times. You know, a lot of people don't be wearing they harnesses, and they don't even be thinking about, you know, even stuff to put in their backpack just in case something goes south. So like, was there a specific event or lesson that made you realize the importance of, you know, safety outdoor protocols and outdoors, or something you always been passionate about?
It's always been something I've been passionate about from the time I was little. And it actually started, I was on one of these country roads back in Virginia, saw this van fly off the road, man. And one of the people inside the van actually got ejected, like from the van. I was maybe 6 or so years old. I was real young when I saw that. So like before that, wasn't even like a stickler about the seatbelt. You know, back in the day, we used to ride in the back of open pickup trucks, et cetera, right?
Right.
So like it was kind of real lax. But after I saw that, like I won't even move my car like out of park without having my seatbelt on. And I just been like kind of on it like ever since seeing that at a real young age. That's what sparked it for me.
That's what's up. Yeah, I think a lot of people just, you know, their parents didn't do it, their daddy didn't do it, grandparents, whatever, man. They just They just overlooked that, man. And I really overlooked it, man, until, you started talking about safety and like first aid kits and stuff you need to put in there, man. I like that one thing that I put in my pack now, but back then I wasn't thinking about that. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. Why is that?
I mean, I think it's just for a lack of a general awareness, and then people tend to have this fallacy, if you will, like in general, that like, yeah, it can happen, but it won't happen to me. So until it happens to you or somebody close to you, like people don't really tend to take action or be impacted about things. But I'm ex-military coming up in the Army, and I was a combat lifesaver over there, which is assistant to the medic. Like you got the main medic, and then you have other people throughout the unit that have more elevated training. Like we know how to give IVs, so I can give fluids, more advanced bleeding stoppage controls. I can put in an MPA, which is a nasal pharyngeal apparatus. If you passed out and you can't breathe or you have an obstruction or something like that, not to go too deep into it, but it's just like a general awareness of it, because people think they're invincible and nothing can't happen. And most of the time it doesn't, but all it takes is one time. And we need to be prepared for those type of situations. Because I mean, look, it was a professional baseball player or an ex-baseball player that just fell off the stand not too long ago.
Yeah, 27 feet.
Yeah, and he's out there beating the horn and talking safety, safety, safety now, and that's great. But I wish he didn't have to experience that fall to get on the bandwagon. So that's why I always preach that, just to try and, especially for us, because we talk to a lot of people or cater to an audience of newer hunters, people that are first coming in. And I say this all the time when I'm instructing somebody like at the gun range or something. They'd be like, hey, will you teach me? But I don't have any experience. I'm like, absolutely. You're my favorite type of person, because you don't have bad habits to unlearn at this point. I can teach you the right way from the beginning. So when people are first getting into it, that's why that's safety and first aid is one of the first things I bring up to them. So they always have it on their mind going forward from day one before they even step out into the woods.
Makes sense. They have no biases, so
Yep.
clean slate.
Yep, exactly. It's like they're my clay and I get to mold them, so to speak.
Right. So when you hear the word, somebody comes up to you and you hear the word safe hunting, what does that entail? Like, where does your mind go when you hear those two words?
Safe hunting. First thing is having a plan. I'm not saying tell nobody where your hunting spot is, but have somebody that knows the general area of where you are, where you're going to be, and when to expect you back. So like, hey, if you haven't heard from me by X day, now let's initiate some type of search and rescue or whatever the case may be. And then just give them a general idea of where to look. So it all starts with, number one, having a plan. And in that plan, you need to be able to do a couple of basic things. I'm not saying you need to perform surgery, but you need to have a plan to stop bleeding, especially if you're a bow hunter. You got to be able to stop bleeding. It applies to anybody. I would like to have some type of way to keep warm, and make sure you always have water. And then after that, some type of way to deal with the fracture. They got little foam rolls that you can mold, real easy stuff, like with the instructions on the foam. Like anybody can do it. You don't have to have like some type of advanced training, but I would just like, if it was up to me, that's what I think of. And it's just having a plan and having some basic supplies that can get you a basic level of care till you can get some more advanced help.
Okay, that's what's up. So let's talk about when you're getting ready for a hunt. So where does your mind go? I guess pre-planning. You're about to go out. Like, do you got a checklist that you go down to make sure you got everything, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, so real simple. The first aid kit that I use, it comes with a little card in it about everything that it should have in there, and I just check it against that to see if I've used something. Then I make sure I get it replaced, because like I keep one in the truck, I keep one in my hunting pack. Like I have a first aid kit pretty much handy everywhere, and I've used them to respond to accidents, like with people just driving before the first responders get there. And like I said, that company, I mentioned it before, but the company that I got it from, they will replace the if I use anything in a life-saving event, they'll replace that item for free. So all I got to do is tell them, hey, I was at the yada yada place on this day, use this. This is what I need, and they'll send it back with no cost. So that's kind of dope. I can get that information on who it is because I have a couple of different ones. So I want to say the wrong thing right now, but that's really all it is. I think about where I'm going. Am I rifle hunting? Am I bow hunting? And the reason that matters because with broadheads and stuff, I'm more likely to have a uncontrolled bleeding event. So I'm going to be really focused on like my gauze, my quick clot, having an Israeli bandage, which is a bandage that you can really kind of almost get some tourniquet-like pressure out of to stop bleeding. That's the main thing that I'm really, really worried about in the backcountry. So I want to make sure of that. And not only for myself, am I hunting with my buddies? Am I hunting with other people? I want to be able to, because the one key thing with first aid, right? You don't really want to use your supplies on somebody else. So I want to, because what happens if now I'm cut and I'm bleeding and I need help? So you want to have enough to treat the people in your group or strangers, whoever, and always have enough to treat yourself. So that's the first thing. And then always water. Because one of the things that people don't think about, especially as you get ready to move into some cooler weather, is you can get dehydrated and get in trouble easier in the cold than you will in the heat. Because
I tell people that all the time.
Like people don't, you're comfortable, the temperature's not as hot, and then when it hits you, now you're in a bad situation. So you need to be intaking that water, intaking those fluids constantly. So it's water, where am I? And having some type of way to communicate, especially if you're going to be in like remote hunts, like those Garmin inReaches are I think essential equipment when you're talking about like big backcountry stuff, and you might not really have cell reception.
Yeah, you turned me on to those, man. I'm actually gonna purchase one before their season starts, especially when I get kind of into the later season, because I'll probably be out with some buddies, kind of in some unknown, kind of uncharted territory where ain't much cell phone service, and it's kind of close. It's Eastern Kentucky, so it's kind of close to, you down there where you grew up in Virginia. So you know how the Appalachian is ain't too much service down there. So
no, not much at all unless you get rid to the top. Once you get down in the valleys, it's like non-existent. You got to get on top of whatever hillside it is, basically, so you can have some line of sight. People they don't realize like it's quite a bit of it's not like out west, of course, but like when you from the flatland area and you try and slide off in them Appalachian Mountains, you can get some surprises. It's some challenging terrain over there.
Yeah. We also, man, I'll pick your brain about this, man. I was talking to a homeboy of mine the other day, and we were talking about he hadn't took his bow out of the case in probably 5 years. So he's like, see, Will, man, listen to y'all on New Jack, listening to you and Trey, Cam, Jay Cam, and you on your personal podcast, Jay or Trey on his podcast. He's like, man, I'm ready to take his bow, back out. He said, I think the strings are messed up, the cams. He said, I'm not really sure, what to expect when I pull my bow out of the case. I don't want to take it out and just start shooting it. So take us down the road to something that you do personally, because I know I have my way of doing it. Bow inspection. Like if you hadn't shot your bow in a while, even if you have been shooting your bow for a while, when you take that bow out the case, like what do you do? Like inspecting your bow, how do you personally go about it?
First things first, give a good look over the strings and the condition of the strings. See for any signs of anything obvious. So like we talking about like any tears, anything that don't look right, that'll raise a red flag at all. Because you got to remember that thing tensioned up right here by your face. You don't want that's not the place to have no accident. So I'm looking at the strings. And then on the bow that I shoot, which is the Matthews, once I give the strings a once over, I can look and see if the bow is in time automatically, just by where the string passes through the hole. So if the timing ain't lined up, I'm not even going to draw the bow back and I'm going straight to the bow shop. But then you want to make sure that everything is tight. your sight is attached properly, your stabilizer is attached properly. Everything is nothing's loose because you can chase your tail all day long. And I've done it before. Left one of the adjustment knobs on my sight open, and every time I put it was just open just enough. But every time I would put the bow back in the case and drive back and forth to the range or whatever, and the case was in the truck and the bows, it doesn't move around, but it was moving enough. My arrows would never go back to the same place. And then I realized I wasn't tightening that sight down. So that's it for me, really, real quick. And then if it's been like a long time, like when I had the rotator cuff and I didn't shoot my bow for almost 2 years, the first thing I did what I just said, looked at the strings, etc., and then I took it to the shop just to have them give it a once over and make sure everything was good. I ended up putting new strings on it, and I went from there.
Gotcha. All right. So how do you arrows? I know that's a big thing with some people too. They haven't shot their bow in a while. Arrows might be, kind of messed up or whatever. So how do you once over your arrows and make sure they're good and good to shoot?
Give it the good old flex test, man. Any type of sign of cracking, it's in the trash. Look for nicks up and down the shafts. Like if any type of nick in the carbon whatsoever, I'll move on to the next one. It's not worth saving a few bucks at all
for sure
to having some piece of carbon shatter. So do that flex test, flexing back and forth. Look for any signs of cracks or whatever, and like outside of that collar part, about the first maybe 2.5 inches, or however long it is, like that metal collar on the outside of the shaft can be scratched. So like that's fine. But the actual shaft itself, for the new people, like with the carbon fiber, the black, the dull material, any of that snick, gone for me. So just to be clear.
Yeah, I do the good old flex test as well. And like I said, it's not worth, having a cracked arrow for you to go out there and try to shoot it. Arrows, they're kind of expensive, especially the kind we shoot, but you can find you some pretty cheap, like gold tip hunters, stuff like that for $65-$70 for a dozen. That are just as good, so it's really not worth putting it through your equipment, because some of these, most of these bows nowadays are pretty high dollar, and you got a $1,300 bow, but you don't want to go out and spend $20 on another arrow, man. It don't make sense to me.
It don't make no sense to me either.
And I'm cheap.
Yeah, I know you are. I know. We know. My boy not gonna spend it if he don't have to. But just to add on to that too, I just also make sure that the field tips are screwed in, or whatever you got on there. If it's broadheads or field points, make sure they screwed into the arrow all the way. Like even like now, I've been practicing with the Day 6 because I use those for elk before I switch over. Like they'll hit the target and I'll pull them out like almost every third shot. Like that they just so violent. You were there when I shot through that target in Oklahoma.
Right. Those things was digging, man.
Yeah, so like I check I'm in the habit now. As soon as I pull it, I'll go ahead and check the tip and just pause. I'm sorry. Check the field tip and just make sure that it's tight.
This man. All right, man. So let's jump into tree stands, ground blinds, and the new crave saddle hunting. You got a lot of guys that tree stand hunt. You got a lot of guys that ground blind hunt. Now you got a lot of guys that saddle hunt. So what's your personal, I guess, rules or regulations for like climbing and securing and making sure you're hunting safely in all three of them?
Okay, so number one, I'm gonna talk about the climbing methods, whether I'm using a hang on or a saddle, whatever it is. Make sure that I'm able to do it in the dark, because you can practice all day long when it's high noon outside, but most of the time when we go into the woods or we're getting out, the sun has already gone down. Unless you had a really good day, you're coming down in the daylight. So number one, that's get comfortable with your setup. Of course, practice in the daytime, yes, but then you need to go ahead and make the first time you do it in the dark shouldn't be on game day. Like you want to be able to make sure that you can do it in the dark, or at least in dimmer light, like in later in the evening. That's rule. That's my number one rule. If I can't do it in the dark, I don't take it in the woods. Point blank, period. I refuse to do it. So that's number one. Number two, just know your equipment. If you want to saddle hunt, for example, know how you're going to get up and down the tree. Saddle hunting, I'd say specifically, because it's not just hanging steps. There's so many different ways. Whether you want a one stick, whether you want a no stick, like Jerry's method with the strap, the 2TC system. Like you don't even need a stick at all. There's another guy out there, a YouTube channel, JRB Tree Climbing or something like that. Super dope channel. Teach you how to tie all type of knots and stuff. If you're a saddle hunter, highly recommend that. But and again, know your knots, know your hitches, and just know your gear, man, and make sure that everything fits, is comfortable, and is serviceable. You don't want to be using no frayed ropes. Check everything for wear and tear. And then just practice it, and not right before the season starts, like the off season. Like now is about the time to start climbing if you haven't already.
Right.
Same applies to the tree platforms, but if you hang your sets and you leave them, check your straps, make sure they're not frayed. You don't want to step up on that platform and have the platform fall up underneath you. But should that happen, this is why you always climb with the safety harness. And you can use the what they call them, the lifelines. When you climbing up to your platform. You can use your lineman's belt, or in your saddle, you're already hooked in, like with your bridge as you're going up and down the tree. You should try and maintain 2 points of contact with that tree at all times, whenever possible. That's my personal safety rule, and that's it for me. Now with the ground blind, the only thing I'll say is give it a good if you can, without messing up too much, give it a good shake. Open up that flap, because especially the first time you take it out of storage, never know what might have crawled up in your bag, what type of insects, etc., might be in there. And then if you left it out I'm getting there. If you left it out overnight, open that thing up, put that flashlight in there, and take a good look around first, because you don't want to be sitting down in your blind and then all of a sudden you hear what sounds like a bunch of bees going off. Trust me, that will not be any bees. So you don't want to, just make sure there ain't no critters in there with you before you step in there. And with the ground blind, that's the safest. That's the best thing I can tell you. And if you're in a place on public, also know your regulations. And the reason I say this is because some states require, in some certain public land, even if the state itself don't require you to mark it with the orange above your blind. I think it's a place here in Texas that does it. I think Virginia requires that in certain circumstances, that you put, it's like it's got to be 12 by 12. They got measurements for it, just like your blaze orange in gun season, but you have to put it above. Certain states, certain places out here require it even in turkey season for Texas. If you're sitting on the ground in front of a tree, maybe not Texas, but I hunt in so many different places and read all these regs. You know how to go, but it's out there. Right. So just know your regs in the state where you hunt, and know that that's a possibility as well. And it's just good practice anyway, especially in turkey season, man, because turn it to the wild, wild west out there sometimes on public, depending on where you at. So,
yeah. So for people who, I guess, newbies, even maybe not even newbies, but harnesses, man, there's so many brands out there. There's so many sizes. There's so many different people doing different things. Like how do you go about choosing the right size for your harness when you are sitting in a tree stand to make sure you're locked onto the tree? Like, you good, my guy?
Yeah, I'm still shaking back from this cold. I had to hit the mute. But I would encourage you to go to the store and try it on personally, because it's one of them things, especially if you don't know. If you never had one before, if you got a buddy that hunts, you have a mentor, talk to them, have them talk you through it. But if you can, go find a good rep at a good pro shop or somewhere near you that has that equipment, and you can get the right thing. But most of the measurements, I will say, if you have to be forced to get it online, the instructions are pretty good. Go ahead and read them. My full body harness is the Muddy XL. I went with that one. This is when I'm not in the saddle, obviously. I went with that one because, it's comfortable for us bigger guys. Like the measurements are different from the regular one. I think it can support like even most of that stuff, it caps out at like 300 pounds. Mm-hmm. Don't quote me on this, but I remember the one that I purchased had a little bit higher weight because I'm always conscious of that. Because like with the book bag and all that other stuff, like man, who knows? Because we are a little bit on the heavier side. Even me, because I'm tall as I don't know what. Like I'm a heavy guy too. So I would really, really recommend you go somewhere with a professional or do your research as best you can. Watch these YouTube channels. You can tell the good ones from the not so good ones usually right away. And just get something that's comfortable and safe. Like all the brands pretty much make good gear. But like if you're a good entry level stuff, looking like your muddies and things like that. Like I've used a muddy harness for I don't know how many times. And I tested like at low to the ground. Like I'll set the thing at like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 feet and step off the side and see how it catch me or whatever. Just high enough for me to, actually experience the arrest. And I've been using that harness for years. And I don't see any reason to change it. Like that thing is pretty well made and it's really simple to use. It's just 2 straps around the leg, 2 straps around the leg, belt comes together at the waist, put your arms through, and it's one more clip. And then, you got your harness with the D loop and you're good to go. It's really simple to use and it's not too expensive either.
That's what's up. Well, cool, man. So let's talk about some situational like awareness type things. You're in the blind, rifle, bow, whatever in your hand. I always tell people you want to know what you're shooting at for one, but also what's beyond that target. Can't stress that enough. So like what's your strategy for making sure that you're taking a safe shot at that animal and there's nothing behind them?
Yeah, it's just pretty much like you said. A lot of that, it just comes with the experience. For me personally, it's not even something like I honestly like think about. It's so like automatic. But it's important to like have some type of like mental checklist, I guess you can say, like when you're out there in the field, because it's easy to get excited, right? Like you see that animal in a prime situation where this can happen, even to more experienced hunters, is when that animal is skylined, right? And he's sitting up there in all his glory, he's broadside, but you see nothing but sky behind that animal. That should be a red flag right there to not take that shot. So like for me, I'm always like pick a spot. Like as I'm breathing and trying to calm myself down, I'm looking for an actual spot on the animal, whether it's a tiff of hair, like some dirt on the animal, whatever. So I'm focusing on picking that spot. And when I'm focusing in on picking that spot, I'm assessing the situation. Because let me back up. First of all, I know where I would like my shot opportunities to be in my setup. I've ranged it, so I have a good idea already what's behind it. But in case the animal shows up somewhere else, it's like pick a spot. Okay, I picked a spot. Let the animal come into a landmark that I've ranged already. Once they hit that, I watch the animal. I'm watching them, and then it's talk myself through that draw, anchor, aim process. And as I'm doing that, I shoot with both eyes open, so I have a better picture. That's one thing that helps for me personally. Looking down my peep, I keep both eyes open. I can see. And then it's just a matter of, hey, is there a backstop behind this? Is there another animal behind this, the one that I'm aiming at? Like if I miss this shot or if it passes through, I don't want to shoot 2 animals at one time. It's just a matter of being, like you said, aware, having some patience, and then having a way to kind of like talk to yourself and calm everything down and go through your process before you release an arrow or let that bullet fly. Because then once they're gone, they can't come back.
Yeah. So once that bullet's gone, once that arrow is released, do you have any safety protocols before you take off and start tracking that animal?
Oh, 1,000%. Once the bullet's gone, weapon on safe. Weapon is absolutely on safe. Now, depending on what type of hunt I'm doing, I may go ahead and leave a round in there. But if I know that I'm about to go ahead and track that animal, weapon on safe, drop the magazine, clear the chamber until I climb down. I never climb up or down with my firearm loaded. Never do it. Just like I wouldn't raise my bow up with the arrow on the rest. So with the bow, put it on the hanger, make sure my release is secured. Start packing up, packing up my stuff really, and making sure that we ready to go. Like after you get over that initial moment of excitement. But with the bow, it's really really simple. Just get the bow out of your hand. I'm not gonna knock another arrow or anything like that until I get down to the ground. But when I do get down to the ground, I will go ahead and knock another arrow as I'm blood trailing this animal, if I didn't see where it went down at, in case it might be still alive or whatever the case may be. The shot wasn't the greatest, or maybe you didn't give it enough time. It's a good idea to go ahead and knock one in case you can go ahead and expire the animal more quickly. Same thing with the rifle or a shotgun or whatever. Once I get back on the ground, I'll load one up, just because you never know what situation you might get into down there on the ground. But other than that, I just want to climb with it loaded, and that's pretty much it. Just common sense safety stuff there.
Yeah, I was, if I'm coming down off out of a tree stand, like you said, gun on safe, bow, don't have one knocked in. But as soon as I get to the ground, I'm chambering one, because I've seen situations. I have never been in a situation like that, but I've had buddies that are, tracking wounded animals, deer, hogs, all this, and them animals end up, you spook them, jump them. They're coming at you. A lot of, it's very rare that happens, but it happens.
I wouldn't even say it's rare when you talk about them hogs. You always got to be
hogs,
ready
yes,
for them. You got to
absolutely.
be
You
ready
always
for
gotta be
them
ready for
jokers. You
Yeah.
got to be ready. So yeah, that's the same thing here, man. That's why you got to do it like that. You just never know.
Yeah, man, for sure. You gotta be ready. Especially, I've even seen, heard instances like people tracking wounded deer. Deer might be on the ground with their eyes closed. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you kneel down, you want to take a picture with them, that deer stands up, kicks one of them in the chest or whatever, and
Yep.
you hurt.
Or even worse, you know what I mean? So like
Yeah,
that guy from Dallas, the real estate guy that was just over there hunting with that Cape buffalo, just passed away not too long ago on a hunt over there in Africa.
right.
Like, got charged by that buffalo. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you just never know. Like it's a fun thing that we do, but we just got to be safe. And if I can, I just want to throw out one more thing that I don't think a lot of people think about, especially for like my turkey hunters and people that normally hunt in warmer climates. If what I think you know what I'm about to say.
Yep. Go ahead.
No, so like we hate I don't like snakes. I'm just gonna say it. I don't. But in the places that you hunt, it's important that you know what type of snakes are around and out there. Um, if you don't know anything else, know the venomous snakes in the area that you're hunting. Why? Because if you or unfortunately were to get bit, being able to identify that snake that bit you can get you the right treatment at the hospital. The anti-venom is made from the venom of snakes. To my knowledge, it's not a universal anti-snake venom.
It's not.
So you want to be able to identify the snake that bit you, so you can get the right stuff and save your limb, save your life. In a worst case scenario, it is really, really important. And if you're here in Texas, there's this group on Facebook that is outstanding. It's amazing. It's called Texas Snake Identification. I've joined it recently, and I don't even know how or why it came across my mind to do it. But ever since I've been in there, I'm able to tell you a cottonmouth from a water snake like in a matter of an instant now, like a threatening situation versus a non-threatening situation. Like, just from being in that group and seeing a post pop up on my feeds. And a lot of these snakes are in the similar areas, and I mean, the admin in that group are so knowledgeable. I've learned so much just from never even commented, just watching and reading in there. And I mean, like, that's something that could really help you out, because especially turkey hunting, it's hot. We sitting on the ground, or we sitting in ground blinds. And if you like me, running and gunning, I mean, you can be miles and miles and miles away from the truck. Like, sometimes it can be a long walk. So, and then to go along with that, just have some basic awareness of what to do and how to treat a snake bite. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not giving medical advice, but just have some basic awareness of it. Hit your Red Cross, or find these resources on the internet. If you want some help looking in the right direction, hit me up on Instagram. That's the easiest place to find me, at Mr. J Cam, like you see it on the screen. For the audio people, it's MrJayCam, at Mr. J Cam, and I can try and point you in the right direction. I just wanted to put that out there.
So, what role do you think hunting partners have and safety. Like me, you, Jay, or me, you, and Trey out in Oklahoma, shooting shot 3D, what role do you think that plays in like trying to keep everybody safe and make sure everybody's on the same page?
It's just accountability. It's extra eyes. Everybody's seeing a different piece of the same puzzle, seeing it from a different angle. I think that you got to have people that are willing to speak up, see something, say something. This is, a lot of times people like, oh, I ain't no snitch, the yada yada. We joke and play about that, but like this is very much when it comes to safety and your lives. You see something, say something, even if you think it's nothing. Like I can give you an example. Um, like from that very same trip. Like I saw Trey step over a down tree log. I was like, yo, big dog, next time step up on that thing first
Right.
before you just step across. Like I was like, because a lot of times you'll catch a snake or something on the backside and they just reacting off that movement. Like that's how they sit and wait in ambush. So you always step up onto something, look
Yep.
down, and then take your next step. So
Yeah,
like
that's
that's
what I
just
was
an
taught
example,
too.
right? That's just an example right there, of one of the things, and how the buddy system comes into it, because we all have different experiences and things. You might know something that I never heard of before. We all come from different parts of the country. So just communicating, creating an accountability, saying like, hey, like we gonna do this, we're gonna have fun, but we just gonna be safe and like spread the word as best you can. Like I ain't saying be preachy or be holier than now or anything like that, but we just gotta look out for each other. Like you know how it is. Like we roll together and everybody looking out for each other. We having a good time, but we want to be able to continue doing so.
Right. So if you could leave the listeners with one golden rule for safety, what would it be?
One golden rule for safety: education is king. You don't know what you don't know. So take the time to seek out a resource, whether it's YouTube videos, whether you go and seek out formal training from your local Red Cross or the other school that I can never think of their name. I wish I could. That wildlife school. It's like out in Wyoming. I did a New Jack News on it if you want to check that out. And just get some education, get have some basic knowledge, like know how to stop bleeding, know how to identify the different types of bleeding. Like that was something like I could have got into a little bit, but like arterial bleeding, like it's going to squirt as it's going, because that carries the blood coming from the heart, so your heart is pumping, that blood's going to squirt versus just straight gushing out. Like if you got a normal cut, like, you need to know, like, hey, that's an artery. I really need to get this. Know where to put the tourniquet, like how to mark it. And so the person may not be able have to lose a limb, which is unlikely these days, but just simple things like that. So the one rule is just get yourself some education and find out what you don't know. That's it.
That's what's up. Mr. J Cam, ladies and gentlemen, 1/3 of the New Jack Archers, Mr. Equalized Outdoors himself, man. Appreciate you hopping on the
Appreciate you having
pod
me,
with me,
C.
man. It's something that you really opened my eyes to, about, the outdoors. Anything could go wrong, and everybody thinks they're invincible until something does happen, and you need that medical attention. So you need to get some education on what to do in case shit does go south, and it could real easy. Hopefully it never does, but you always want to have that backup plan just in case. So shout out to Jay for taking time out to educate us on that a little bit, coming from a military background and everything like that. So how can folks get a hold of you, man, if they want to ask you any more questions?
First of all, thanks for having me. See, I appreciate that, man. Definitely
Yes,
appreciate it.
sir.
Anytime. You're my boy. I love being here. But if you want to get a hold of me, you can find me on Instagram at Mr. J Cam or at Equalized Outdoors on all platforms, including TikTok. So if you want to get a hold of me, shoot me a message. You got any questions? If something I said wasn't quite right, let me know. I'm not above being educated myself. Let's all learn and grow and be safe together while we enjoying these great outdoors that we love.
That's what's up, man. This podcast will be out on Apple, Spotify, my personal YouTube channel. If you got any questions for me or Jay, make sure you hit us up. I need to redo my intro because I have one more company that I'm currently working with right now, and that is Rite Shotguns. Rite reached out. We've been on the phone for a while talking about stuff. They make let me say this. That's one company that I really wanted to work with because I've been shooting their shotguns for about 3 years now. Love the way they shoot, love the way they shoulder. It's all personal preference, but you need to go check out their shotguns for sure. They're making pistols now. They're about to come out with some rifles. You can get on Retail USA and kind of check them out and see where the dealer is close to you, so you can actually go shoulder one and make sure it's something you like. And they're a little bit cheaper than some of the other big name brands out there. I'm not gonna mention any names, but go check them out. Dove season's right around the corner. I'll personally be shooting the new Ace R from Rite in a 20 gauge, and I'm going to be shooting their 12 gauge Ace R for duck season this year. So, Jay will definitely see me with one of those two guns out in the duck woods this year, wherever we end up going. Shout out to Bubba Ray down in Galveston. Hope everything's going
well, OG.
Hope things going on well, because we got some duck hunting to do, man. So y'all keep him in your prayers, man. He's going through some chemo treatments and stuff like that right now. If you don't know who Bubba Ray is, go back to some of my earlier episodes. You'll see him in about 3 or 4 of them, man. He's a OG in the game from Texas, man. He's got a lot of knowledge. He knows he's forgotten more about hunting than I know. So shout out to him. But man, yeah, if y'all got any questions for me or Jay, just reach out to us on our platforms, man, and we'll get back to you. But any last words for the listeners?
No, I got a last word for you, though. I need a 20 gauge myself, man. I'm going to have to call you after this. Because I'm getting tired of beating my shoulder up over here, man. I'm looking to go to 20s
is where it's at, man. A lot of people's going, putting them 12s up, going to 20s, man. I like to have both, just in case. I do a lot of rabbit hunting with 20s, man, but I'm going to try my luck with, dove hunting this year with it. I might even duck hunt with it, man. So,
man, but see what really got me, like, I don't know if you was in that conversation that day when we were talking to the guy from up here around Fort Worth. He said he got certain duck holes. If you don't got a 20 gauge, like, you can't even come in there. He won't even take you back there because like the 12 gauges are too loud. Like, yeah, it was me, Bubba, I think maybe DJ and Pat. And he was like, bro, you can't even hit this hole because like the 12 gauges was too loud, I guess. And they was like scaring off the ducks. Like the hole would like get blown out. But he was like, he took people in there with 20 gauges and the birds would be back within like 2 days or something like that. He was saying like, and that's when everybody was on there like, hold on, man, you saying the best spots on your property, you only let people go in there with 20 gauges. And he was like, yeah, this is why. And, he got that new shell with that bismuth that he putting out. And he was like, yeah, man, we only running 20s. They quieter, this, that, and the third. Like, I won't even take you back to some of these holes with a 12 gauge. And he was serious about it too. That's when I went up to Shields and was looking at the other company's 20 gauge that I told you felt like super cheap compared to the 12 gauge. I won't say their name, but and that's why I didn't get one. But like, yeah, pretty much everybody like has a 20 gauge right now. And I know for me, that particular conversation was part of it. But I cannot wait for duck season, man.
Yeah, me either, man. I can't wait. I can't wait for dove season. September 1st, Memorial or Labor Day, man. I'm ready to.
Somebody just hit me up about that today. I'll call you after this.
Yeah, hit me up. But yeah, man, if that's it, man. Big game, small game, all game. We do this too. Out.
It's your boy C. Will. What the hell?